I don't really know why I'm doing this, but I feel like sometimes I have things on my mind. I'm also unemployed. Unemployment will do a lot to a person. It'll drive them up the wall. I always think like, and I know everyone's always like, I could have a podcast, but what if I could have a podcast? Like, there's literally nothing stopping me from doing such. Especially, the two things that would stop me from this usually: a job, football, injured, unemployed. You tell me, what's stopping me? Because certainly it's not those two things. I always think about my like media training. This is my sort of train of thought. My first train of thought today. I was just on YouTube watching a couple of videos. Came up with Jude Bellingham's like his new documentary. Don't get me wrong. I'm a I'm a I'll put my hands up. Jude Bellingham, he's a gorgeous man. I do find it slightly like what's the word? Unsettling how he's wait, let me look this up. He's 20 years old. 22, 21? Oh, sorry, when you look up Jude Bellingham, it's quite attractive. 21 years old. We're the same age. How why does he talk the way he talks? Is he media trained or is that just the way he is? I would, and I bet like he's not like that in real life. Maybe he is. Sometimes you meet 21-year-olds and you're like, I think you were born in the wrong generation, and not in like a you're racist and should be sent back to another generation. Just in like a you talk like an old person, like you're older than you are. I would give $750,000 to see Jude Bellingham just let loose and be himself. That's a lot of money. I'm never gonna have that much money, but like, just like, imagine just being in his vicinity when he talks normally, like with his friends. Is he like that, or is he like normal 21-year-old? Because I don't know. I feel like if I was on an interview, I'm not answering questions the way he answers questions. Have I spent too much time on this? Probably. I don't know. It's something to think about. Would he speak like that normally? I always think about this with like just celebrities in general, though. Like, I think we should get rid of media training because media training stops you from actually knowing these people anyway. Like, imagine if like all these like if a racist wasn't media trained. Just imagine it for a second. They just let loose and said the things that they normally said without knowing not to say those things out loud. Also, what a crazy fact! Like, you're being trained not to say these things because people won't like you for it. But having like the cognitive dissonance to not realize like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be thinking these things if it's making people not like me for it. Like, you're allowed opinions, but opinions are like, I don't believe pineapple on pizza belongs. Not, I think that the world should be white and pure. Like, that's not my opinion either. Don't get that wrong. Don't get that messed up. Don't get that twisted. But do you know what I mean? Like, how strange is it that some people are like, oh, the world won't let you say anything these days. Have you ever thought why that is? Have you ever thought to yourself, maybe that's because it's like affecting people? Maybe it's because it, like, being offensive, like, have you, it's just a strange thing, isn't it? I feel like I say like too much. Although I read somewhere, and when you say you read somewhere, I just watched a TikTok. Apparently, like has become like a. When you start noticing it, it really starts picking up. It's become like part of people's vocabulary in Gen Z, which completely makes sense. And I'm pretty sure it's like more female-based vocabulary. That'd be completely true. I think it's probably used more than any other word in my vocabulary. And once I really did try to get rid of it from my vocabulary. And then it just doesn't work. I just get like, oh my god, see? I just get really in my head about it. And then that's about it. Like it overtakes my life. It's like this. Actually, is that too much to talk about? Maybe. No one's gonna see this anyway. I feel like I'm just gonna do this, upload it, and no one's ever gonna see it. But I used to pick my nose, not eat it. Don't come for me for that. But I just like because I can feel it. I used to be texture, feeling, all that. I would feel it up here, so I'd be digging. And then I started noticing I was doing that a lot. And then I was in public, like inside my brain, screams of, because when you're not allowed, it's like when you're not allowed to laugh, you feel like laughing more. Anyway, media training. I think that celebrities shouldn't be media trained because you learn about them more. I'd probably like more of my favorite celebrities if, well, that's not the vibe. I think I'd like more of my favorite celebrities if they were allowed to speak their minds and exactly what they were thinking. Imagine that. And like footballers, why are we media training footballers? Interviews are much funnier when these people. Chippy Chips, you wouldn't get that from a media trained Cole Palmer. What? You know, like because he's going to be media trained, and that's probably the saddest thing to happen to football community. Will be Cole Palmer's media training. But it's like Haaland. You can tell he's kind of media trained now. He still sneaks in an odd thing, but like he's not as funny as he used to be when he just spoke his mind. Lots to think about there, lots to unpack. Just imagine all of the celebrities you would like more or wouldn't like without it. Like, you just like learn so many more things. I just think the world would be a better place if we let people speak their minds more often. And not because I believe in free speech. I do in some cases, as long as it's not hate speech. But if we let more hate speech come through, then we learn who are the bad people and who are not. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I've just been thinking about that a lot. Just imagine how many, like we could just cull off, and then we wouldn't have to go through the rigmarole of like when people get cancelled and people like, oh, we never knew he was like that, because it was like he was obviously like that from the beginning. I'm using the global he because I'm not a misandrist because misandry doesn't exist. And if you think misandry exists, you're an idiot. But men at this moment in time aren't doing enough to be warranted as equal as women in my head. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are not enough men doing a good job for me to enjoy the entire presence of men. Does that make any sense? I don't know. I took a break because I was like, I can't just sit here and not talk for a bit. But because like in a podcast, imagine if you just had someone just silently sitting there, just lots to talk about. I think when I imagined a podcast, I didn't imagine myself living in a new country on my own without friends. I imagined doing it with like a friend, because no one I feel like you have to be someone before you make a podcast on your own. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like you could make a podcast with, anyone can. Recently when I've been on TikTok, I get a lot of new podcasts. I don't listen to any of them. But then sometimes I'm like, maybe I should, maybe I could be like those awful Billy stans who like I was a fan of Billy before I knew Billy, before everyone knew Billy. I could become that insufferable Billy stan, but for some random podcast. I do wonder though, because podcasts came up so quickly, I do wonder like how quick is their downfall going to be? Because it's not short form content, which is what's becoming increasingly more popular in today's age, is it? Like, they're long. They're well long. But anyway. I just feel like too many people have podcasts as well. I'm contributing to the waffle in the ether. But yeah, there should be some kind of license, some kind of certificate you have to like go through, get, receive before you can put your content out, like a podcast. I don't know if you've seen those Aussie bros, those Aussie boys, and they have that podcast, and like they, I feel like 70% of their content is them talking about keeping going even when you've got haters, because 100% of their comments is like, and the crowd goes mild. Yeah, bro, let's post this. Like, I don't actually know if they've got any genuine fans or if all of their followers are like hate followers, apart from probably like their mum and their sister and that. But yeah, tell you who has a good podcast, which I am obsessed with at the moment. And I feel like everyone's obsessed with them at the moment. It's Slushy Noobs. I am obsessed with Hamza and Martin and Mandy. Mostly Mandy. I think everyone who's a real fan is there for Mandy, stays for like Hamza and Martin, you know? She is brilliant. She kind of just, I also love that she's not really on the internet as much as, or not on the same part of the internet as the rest of us. And like they make references and she has no idea. I think it's very refreshing to know that not everyone in the world is going the same way we're all going, which is just like brain rot. I feel like there should be, you know, when like, and this is how parasocial relationships start. Do not get me started on parasocial relationships. But I just feel like I would be friends with them, but I probably wouldn't be. They're like way funnier, way cooler than me. You know what I mean? Not in like a self-deprecating way, just like I feel like they do have a type of humour that's just above most people's. I don't know. I feel like moving away from home, and I'm doing a lot of living on my own at the moment, and like a lot of hanging out on my own, a lot of time to think. I think about these things a lot. I'm doing a lot of thinking, so much thinking. Like I was on the bus today, and I was just listening to, I think it was Phoebe Bridges. No, I think it was Soccer Mummy, Circle the Drain, banger of a tune. But I just had this moment and I caught myself and I was like, why on earth am I thinking about these? Like, I was imagining, it was so weird. It's actually like, it was, should be, kids should learn to shut up. Kids, that's what you can hear outside if you can even hear it at all. Which is funny because that kind of relates to my point. I was having this whole like thing in my brain about like, if I had a kid and it wanted to play more than one sport, how would I fit it in during my week? Girl, that's got to be studied. Like, I'm not even first step. I haven't even got a partner. I haven't even got someone to make a child with. I don't even know if I want kids. Why was I thinking about like, I was like, how would I broach the topic of like getting them to like a sport? I'm really worried if I had kids, they don't want to play sport. I just don't know what I'd do. Like, how do you support them without? I know I'd love them whatever, but like I really want my kid to play sports, football preferably, but like probably a cheap one. I love horses, but I don't want them to get into that. That's just like, or yachting. I don't want them to get into yachting, sailing, whatever. I don't want to get them. I don't want them to be in skiing, snowboarding. No, they can play tennis or something. Although tennis is quite expensive too. Team sports is where it's at. They can play a team sport like basketball, football. I would rather they didn't play rugby, but relatively cheaper team sports like the average ones, netball, whatever. But I was thinking about it and I was like, what am I even doing? What is it with like, I've never wanted kids in my life. Since the last 10 months, I'm going to say, I've become like weirdly maternal. There was this moment in my last job and we were like at the garden centre picking out plants and I caught myself holding this, they're in like the plastic sack with the soil and then the plants just bashed in the middle. It's like malleable. And I caught myself like holding it like a mother would hold a kid on her hip. I was like bouncing it, like it was like trying to sleep. And I thought, hold on, there's something like seriously wrong with me because I've never wanted children in my life. Why on earth am I blind? Like bouncing this fucking fern on my hip like a child. It was, and I remember telling Meg and Demi, my twin sister and their girlfriend, like I was like, and them just like being like, I remember Demi's face, I remember Meg just laughing. I remember Demi's face was like, and that's when I knew like you need some serious help, but not serious help, but like, girl, what is going on? Sorry, I keep like checking myself out. Something about a slip back on Pip Coakley just does wonders. But yeah, bouncing a plant on your hip is not normal human behaviour for a woman who doesn't even have a partner and no way to have a child. A 20-year-old girl. I'm barely an adult. How are people my age having kids? I can't even imagine it. Like, I'm way too selfish. Good on them, but I'm way too selfish for a kid right now. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. Sometimes I don't even like putting my friends' needs before my own. I do because I'm a good person, but like, it kind of irks me. But then I think maybe that's what parenting is, like, being a bit irked that your kid, like, you're never ever going to be like totally okay with um, putting your kids' needs before your own. But it's just something you do because you're not selfish and you love them. Is that right? I don't know. But like, props to anyone my age. Props to you guys. But yeah, I keep looking to the side because this is where I've got like things to talk about. But then like I have like a run short and then I just go off script because not that there's a script. Imagine if I scripted this whole thing. They'd be like, you guys would be like, wow, this is the most boring script of all time. But maybe it's not boring. Maybe I'm just like overthinking it. I think I'm gonna need a mic because photo booth. I'm on photo booth because I'm doing this old style. There's probably not like the best quality sound, but yeah. Also, I can't even imagine having a kid when I don't even like myself and like who I am. Like I just feel like I'm still growing. I don't want to have a kid and I wouldn't want a kid and feel like I'm ruining their growth and their thing because I never figured it out for myself. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like your 20s are so important for figuring out who you are. Like, some people have a child before they've even lived anywhere else but their hometown. And this is no hate to them because you're all doing fabulous. Great job, mothers. You're doing something I would never ever be able to do right now. You're the warrior. But like, how can you do that? I couldn't do that. Like, I've changed so much since I left my hometown because there is something to be said about leaving your hometown and like getting hotter. And I'm not just saying looks. Like, I think I look a lot hotter than I did even like 6 months ago when I was in Nelson. But I think that can be down to stress and like the situation I was in. But like, hotter just in like who I am, I feel like I know myself. I feel like if I'd never left my hometown, how on earth would I know who I truly am? Because you're still in that weird confined box that you were when you left high school. I don't know. Also, I just feel like leaving your hometown and having to make new friends, do new things, like navigate new life experiences in new places. I just feel like you grow from it. I don't know. And to do that before, I feel like I had to do that before, like, even thinking about starting my life. Do you know what I mean? I feel, yeah. Yeah, nah. Stuff being a mother this young. If you're doing it, good on you. Proud of you. I would never be able to do that. I don't have to think about it. Chronically single at the moment. probably not something I'll go into today because it'll get me going. Like I won't stop. Like being alone and thinking a lot. A lot of it is I had a moment where I was like, wow, I need to find someone. Like my time's running out, and then I was like, girl, you're only 20. Like you're not meant to have it figured out, and you're not meant to have someone. And if you do, that's fine. But like the world doesn't stop because you don't have some or geezer or girls on your side. Like, come on, pick yourself up, stand up. It was like that. It was like stand up, like decentralize this now because it will ruin your life. Decentering men is the best, and dating is the best thing I've ever done. Like, it does make your world boring though. I'm like still doing it. Like, it's just like, it's not something that happens overnight. It takes a while, but it is boring when you have these girl connections and like this is what we're taught is to centralize this, and this is the only thing you think about. It's what you talk about. It's what your life kind of like. What you're doing is like, how is that impacting? It's hard to explain. It's like everything you do now is to make yourself appealing and interesting for a guy or girl, for a partner. And it's like, actually no, because the world doesn't stop if I don't have a partner. Also, if I have a partner and he disappears, I still have to live with myself. So I'd rather have it figured out on my own and not even be thinking about this. And if it shows up and turns out fine, that's fine. But I'm not spending all my days thinking about it, and like none of my social, like I just feel like too many girls I know, it's like every social interaction is an opportunity to find a lad. And it's like, actually, I just want to hang out with my girls. I just want to hang out with my mates. And like, and it's so entwined with everything. I feel like if I start now, I'm not going to stop. But it is an interesting thought. I'm gonna come back and talk about that some point because it like entwines with every aspect of your life, like the gym, your work, your social life, your extracurricular things that you do outside of work and the gym and everything. It's just like, oh wow, I've literally centered my life around the aspect of dating. It's like, and then, but if you think about your life and like how much time dating actually takes up, it's like a tiny little sliver in the big pie that's your life, and it should stay that sort of way in your brain and in your priorities because there's so much else going on. Anyway, that's kind of boring. I just feel like I look quite good today. It's the kind of thing you say and then you look back on and you're like, what was she on? But yeah, been really obsessed with sewing lately. Just the idea of sewing. I think it started because I have a pair of pants that I want to make smaller because the waistband is too large. And now, like, sometimes I do wake up and I'm like, I think I need to buy a sewing machine. But like, how amazing would it be if I could just like fix up my own clothes, sustainable and kind of like a flex, and like you become like the sewing friend, and they're like, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, I can. And then they love you for it. And it's not me trying to be like, love me. It's like, I want to be someone that is helpful and kind. Helpful and kind. It's kind of all you can strive to be, really. Anyway, I feel like that's probably enough for today. I've waffled on for like, this video was like 20 minutes long and the other one was like 10, so 30 minutes of waffle is probably enough for one night. It's not even night, it's 3:36. The day has barely begun. Marley just asked me what I was up to today. You answer her, I'm gonna have to wait like 2 or 3 hours before I get a response, so that's sick. But yeah, lots of love. If anyone even sees this, but I don't know that they will. Anyway, good chat. and I will see you next time, if there even is a next time. But I enjoyed this. I feel like I got a lot out. I don't have anyone to talk to at the moment. From time like 11 to 8, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. All of my New Zealand friends are asleep, and all my UK friends kind of have jobs and stuff, or like have study. So it is a very lonely time. So this is nice. Maybe I just start doing this a bit more often. Who knows? Anyway, ka kite anō, and I will see you next time.